guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the rest of my July wrap-up. I am very happy July is over. July is one of my least favorite months of the year. It's hot. There's nothing fun that happens in July, though I did go on 2 trips, which was fun, but exhausting, so the month did go by fast. The day I'm filming this, it's actually August 1st. I didn't mean to film today. It's my birthday, but my sister and I spent the whole morning together. We got breakfast, really yummy, like pastry place, and then we went shopping, and I got a new perfume that I'm very excited about, and new pillows. Yay to being 32. And then I did end up reorganizing my entire vanity and getting rid of a ton of makeup because I got stuff at HomeGoods that I loved and I just like really wanted to get it set up, so I did that today. So it's been actually a very productive day, and I've got about an hour before we have to leave to go to my parents' house for dinner and Dairy Queen. So I decided why not sit down and film, because I took the day off, and when I take days off I like to get ahead on my other stuff that's not work. So that's like my personal stuff. So we are filming today, and I'm wearing my new birthday sweatshirt from my sister. She got me a Stars Hollow sweatshirt from this place on Instagram that was super cute that she'd gotten stuff from before, and I thought we missed their drop, and she got it for me for my birthday, plus a pair of Crocs. She knows me so well. But I have just a few books to share for July. I think I have 9 plus a DNF. Actually, that's really good. So 3 of these I did talk about at the end of my previous wrap up, but I wasn't done with them yet. So I'll tell you my like final thoughts about them. First half of the month was atrocious. I read 6 books. So I was though in Europe, which I can't read while I travel. I don't read that much. So I mostly read on my Kindle or audio. I don't think I read a single physical book that I owned, except for one that I listened to on audio. So we will go ahead and get to the books. The first book I read is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. I always forget this author's name. I listened to it on audio. I just feel like I'm not really into YA fantasy at the moment. It's really hard for me to really like care that much about it. I'm also in this really weird mood where if it's slow and not a lot's happening, I'm bored. I like need something specific to keep me really entertained, and so a few of these I was just like kind of bored reading them. So this one unfortunately was one that was kind of boring. I think I had talked about it in my last like mid-month wrap up and talked about it being a little bit slow and probably a 3-star. I did end up giving this a 3-star. I actually read this for my Reading Pink Books vlog, which was all 3 and 4 stars. I did not read a single 5-star book in that video, and I was a little disappointed in how that video turned out, just based off the quality of books that I read. But this one, our heroine is in a competition to marry the prince, because if you marry the prince, then your family basically like their royalty. So her family was ruined because her sister made a deal. So in this society, you make a bargain with the queen, and she will grant your bargain if you give something up in return. And her sister had disappeared for like, I think like a day or 2, and basically ruined their reputation because they all assumed that she ran off with someone to try to get married and then didn't. And so she decides to enter this competition to win the hand of the prince, and it goes from there. I will say the end was cool. I was really intrigued by the end. The end kind of raised a 3.5 for me, and I'm actually intrigued enough to read the next book, but until then, I was so bored. I was like, nothing's really happening. There wasn't a lot of like complex world building. There wasn't a lot of complexity to the magic system. It was just kind of like YA historical fiction-ish, and I was just bored with that. And then at the end, we got like a lot of stuff revealed, and I was like, okay, this is actually really cool, and I am very intrigued. So I wish there was more of that throughout it to keep me engaged, but overall, 3.5, but probably still down to a 3. I am also in my omegaverse era right now, so I've read quite a few omegaverse this month. So the first one is Mile High Heat by Sarah Blue. I love Sarah Blue so much. I can't wait to read more of her backlist. And I actually read Heat Haven, which is a novella, which I'm glad I read that because like they kind of mention the place that took place at in this one. You don't have to read them in order at all. They're just kind of like in the same world, and I liked kind of knowing the world going into this one. And this one is actually, I did think it was funny. I posted that I was reading it on Instagram, and someone said they saved this for when they were flying to read. This one is an omegaverse where our heroine is an omega, and omegas shouldn't fly just because of different situations, like the scents are too much, and she goes into heat, which is really bad. When you go into heat, you need to just like constantly have sex. And so she is flying across the country because she's leaving her old pack because they were really famous musicians, and she finally was fed up with how they treated her and never really wanted to claim her. So she's leaving to go back home across the country. alone, and the stewardess is really worried, like the flight attendant, and she ends up going to heat, and the flight attendant is like, I don't know what to do, we're literally in the middle of the sky, and it's California to like New Jersey or something, like literally across the country. And so the flight attendant tells the pilots, and the pilot, one of them is our hero. The other pilot has a girlfriend. And so this pilot is like, oh crap. So he goes back to the bathroom to check on her, immediately is like, oh my God, her smell. And I just don't know why I love those little, the little things with omegaverses of like how they smell, and there's like scent matches and then heats and like nodding. Like I love it all. So they end up bringing her to the cockpit, and he helps her through her heat in the beginning of the heat. So he lands, and him and his two pack mates, I guess, it's a brother and their best friend, they end up meeting her and taking her to the like heat, I don't know if it's called Heat Haven, I don't remember, but this like center to help people through the heat. And they end up taking her there and following through her heat, and then it's them courting her, and it is so good. I gave this one 4 stars. I had so much fun with this one. I really just enjoy Sarah Blue's writing, whether it is omegaverse or just MF. I read her The Marriage Text and I was obsessed, and she's coming out with the second one of that book. So if you want to go to omegaverse, definitely recommend Sarah Blue. Then I did read Love and Focus by Lila Lee, and this one I think I gave 3.5 stars. I listened to it on audio and it was okay. I feel like there was just not a lot to the characters and the plot. So this is a second chance romance, and they had dated in college. I think they were roommates in college, and then one of them, her mom was dying, so she had to like leave and go to the country where her parents were living, and literally ghosted her. And so she like didn't reply down to her messages, and the other girl was so heartbroken that she moved on pretty quickly and started dating a guy. And she blocked her on all the social medias, whatever, and hasn't seen her until today, where they have to work on a project together, where one of them works in journalism, the other one is a photographer, and so they start working together, and it was fine. I was not super excited. Even now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, what really even happened in this one? I just feel like it was okay. I don't know. It was just fine. Again, where I'm just like, it was a little lackluster for me. Maybe it's just I'm burnt out on like straight up contemporary romances right now, because I felt that way with a lot of what I read. I don't know, because I read The Rose Bargain, which was also fantasy, but not too much else really was going on in here. And I know that the heroine was 29, and she was like, it was that kind of plot where it's like, oh, I'm almost 30 and I'm not married with kids, and this isn't how I wanted my life to be. Like, what the heck am I doing? And as someone who is in her early 30s, I don't relate to that, because your life is not over when you're 30. And so I feel like that kind of like plot has been done so much, and I just kind of like wish it did a little bit of something different, and her realizing like she has so much in her life going for her and so much to look forward to that it's okay. But I get like that is kind of like an existential crisis people might have when they get out of really long relationships, where they're like, oh, I thought like my future was great, and now it's like I'm kind of starting over at an older age, and I'm like, you can restart anything you want at any time in your life. And I wish that she had learned that a little bit earlier, but it was just okay. I gave this 3.5 stars. Then I picked up Second Edition by Cleo White. If you like a spicy age gap romance, pick up Cleo White. This one I gave 4 stars as well. This one, our heroine is the daughter of the president of a university, and she tells her parents that she is dropping out of college, and they're like, what do you mean you only have a year left? She's like, I don't want to do what I'm doing right now. I want to figure life out. And so the hero is actually a librarian at their university, and he meets her at a staff party thinking she's staff. They hook up, and then he realizes it's the boss's daughter. And so what he doesn't know is that he is offered this position. So he's actually French, and he has a daughter with autism, and his wife is not in the picture. And so he's a single dad, and he's really struggling, but they say that they want him to go to France to catalog the library of this enormous estate that this man left to the university when he died. So he decides to go, but he's like, I do have a daughter, and they send the heroine on this trip to be the nanny for his daughter while he is doing this. And so they go together, obviously forced proximity. I love the setting in France in this like old estate while he is going through all these like prized possession books, and they're all second editions, and they're like, why did this man collect second editions? And it was a really cute story why. I had a lot of fun reading this. It was really fun, and I liked the dynamic between them and how they're like, we can't do this, but they started falling for each other, and then like his mom comes to visit, and then his ex comes to visit. It was a fun age gap forbidden romance. romance, and I would definitely recommend picking it up. It was also pretty short too, so I flew through it. Then, it pains me to say this, but I read Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, and I was actually really enjoying this in the beginning. This one, our hero and heroine can talk to each other in their minds, and I love that trope. And the heroine's a songwriter and the hero's a musician. They actually met in the beginning of the book and kissed at like a party, and then she has to go home to her parents. Her mom is suffering from memory loss, which I feel like is so common right now, and I don't know if I love that. There's a lot of romances where the characters have loved ones who are dealing with memory loss, and so that's what this was. It wasn't as intense as some other books I read, but she's kind of helping run their like bar, country bar, music bar that they have, and she is kind of in a rut in songwriting, so she's trying to write a new song, and then she realizes she can talk to someone in her head, so it goes from there, and I thought that was fun. But the second half of this really just fizzled out for me. I just like, not a lot was going on. I wasn't caring about the plot. So this one also is a 3.5 star for me, probably rounding down to 3. I think this might be my least favorite of hers that she's written, which is so sad because I feel like she knocked it out of the park with the first 2 that she wrote as adult romances with The Dead Romantics and 7 Year Slip. I loved those, but the novel love story was cute, and then this one was really cute in the beginning, and then I was just like, it's okay. So I gave this one really 3 stars, which is really sad for me. Then I finally finished Twisted Soul. I was reading this for a while. It took me like 2.5 weeks to finish this one. I kind of like went back to it when I was finished with stuff. This is book 3 in this series, and they are Why Choose, and they took place at a like magical academy, and she was paired with the 4 guys in the first book. They go through this like ceremony, and you are put with your matches, and she was immediately like, I reject you, and they're determined not to be rejected by her. And this one I'm giving 4 stars. Book 2 was a 5 star. I loved book 2, and this one was just kind of, I feel like, more of the bridge book that usually book 2 is, but it's kind of the bridge to book 4, which is the finale of the series. So she's still running around with the mates, and we learn a lot more about her past and more of her battling kind of the bad guy. And this one, I would say, less was advancing her relationships with the heroes. Book 2 really did that, which is why I loved it. So this was just kind of like sailing to the end. So 4 stars, still super engaging, but I'm excited for the last book. Then I read A Pack of Cozy. So this one, I'm a little conflicted on my rating on because it's everything I want in a omegaverse cozy romance. It's very reminiscent of A Pack for Autumn, where she is a new librarian in town, and there's this pack that lives there, and she lives actually down the road from them, and she first meets one of them when her car kind of gets snowed in because it's in Michigan in winter, and she's never like lived in the snow before. And then one of them goes to the library and smells her, and they're like, or it was either the library or the like kind of restaurant that they own, they smell her and she's a scent match, and they're like, who is this? Where is she? Like, we need to figure out who this is. And they keep on like smelling her different places, and then they finally meet her when she literally is snowed in and can't leave her car and has to go to their house, and then they start kind of like courting her. The plot of this one's pretty simple, and I feel like this is a really good intro to omegaverse. So I would say it was more like a 3.75 for me. I feel like 3.5 is too harsh, but like it's not enough to be a 4 yet. I still really love the vibes. I really enjoyed this one, but it was just kind of like your basic omegaverse where it explained a lot about omegaverse, and I, as someone who's now been reading a lot, felt like I didn't need that. But if you're kind of new to it, I feel like this one would be a great one to jump into. And the plot just was kind of like her going on dates with all of them. Like, it was her date with one of them, then go on her date with the next one, and then her date with the next one. And so that was it. It was pretty short, but like I had a fun time. Like, I really liked this. So if I was going off of vibes, 4.5 stars. Like, it was just so cozy and cute, but like plot wise, more on like the 3.5 side. So I feel like a 4 is a good like middle number for me, because like I was engaged in having fun the entire time when I've been having a really hard time enjoying and caring about the romances I've been reading lately. So if you're new to omegaverse and want something cozy, read this one. I do like the Amelia Emerson one a lot better than this one, but very fun. And her new one came out today, so I'm definitely gonna pick it up. Then I read Not in Love, which I actually started this one when I was in Europe. This was kind of like my travel book, because you know, if you're on the tube, it's like a 30-minute ride, like wherever you want to go. So I was just reading this whenever I had like 30 minutes to spare. So I read this intermittently and then finally finished it on my plane ride to Vancouver, because I let myself read for pleasure instead of working on the plane. I usually end up doing a lot of work on planes, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna let myself enjoy, because I had to go to Dallas and then Vancouver from Ohio, so it was like a crazy, so many plane rides. But I really like this. I gave it 4 stars. The beginning was a little rough for me. I was like, oh, I don't know, like she doesn't have a lot of memories. It's an amnesia romance, which I did love, and she is leaving this guy that she kind of feels is abusive towards her, and she's like, I don't know. He's just like, she leaves and goes to this inn that like she felt called to, and the guys are all acting weird, and it's amnesia, and she does have a connection to this inn and the guys, and so that's really all I want to say about this one. But it is omegaverse. She doesn't know that she's an omega for reasons, and so you kind of like unravel those, and it definitely got like suspensey at the end. So if you like a cozy inn romance with some suspense, and she has a really cute cat, I would recommend this one. I love amnesia romances, so I had a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm needing like this to keep me intrigued, so definitely did 4 stars. Then I read Rabbid by Raven Kennedy and Ivan Ash. Then I read Rabbid by Raven Kennedy and Ivy Asher. This is again another 4-star. I honestly don't think I had any 5-star reads for the second half of the month. Did I have any? Oh, I only had 3 5-star reads for the whole month, and they were within the first 6 books I read. So the rest of the books were just like, they were pretty good. So this one's a shifter romance, which I actually really enjoyed. Again, the beginning was a little bit hard for me to get into, but once we kind of got going with the plot and she met the hero, I was like, oh, I'm really liking this. So she is with this pack that's really awful. It was taken over by this awful alpha, and her mom ends up dying, and she's like, I know they killed her, but she can't prove it because her mom was a healer for the pack. And so she decides she wants to run away, but they catch her, and they end up forcing her through her transition, and she's assaulted during it. And so when she like accepts her wolf spirit, something goes wrong, and she's kind of considered Rabbid because it's kind of in between. One of her eyes is both her color and the wolf's color, so she can be them simultaneously, which isn't supposed to happen. And so they end up throwing her into this more like savage pack. She meets one of the wolves, and they immediately want to be all over each other. She learns about who he is and their way of life with their pack, and then they get revenge on her old pack, and it's so much fun. I really want to read more shifter romances. I think it's the fall in me that makes me really want to read more shifter romances, but I enjoyed it, and I feel like it went by super fast because like the pacing, it felt like it was supposed to be part of a series, but then like we just kept on going and wrapping everything up, and everything was done by the end. So I don't even know if this is a series or not, but I enjoyed it. So 4 stars. And my DNF, I'm so sad to say, is The Brightest Light of Sunshine by Alyssa Nakoni. This book I was very excited to start. I listened to it on audio. I will say I did not love the male narrator. I feel like he made the dialogue sound extremely awkward, and so that really pulled me out of the story. And I got, I think, 7 hours into this 13-hour audiobook, 12-hour audiobook, so I was over halfway through when I decided DNF because I'm reading this with my Patreon, and I was like, no, I'm forced to finish it. And I was like, why am I forcing myself to finish it? Like, I don't need to, even though I have a book club coming up. I will say I'm in book 2 right now, and I'm loving it, so I'm very happy about that. But this one, he is 30 and she is 22. She's in college, and the next book also has that very similar age gap, but she's not in college, and that just works for me. So in this one, they meet at a party, and I'm just thinking, I'm 32, and I'm like, I would not be caught dead at a college party. That is like the last thing I would want to do with my free time. And so I don't know if it was like technically a college party, but he was at a party with a bunch of college kids there. And that's where they meet. Well, they meet earlier because he's a tattoo artist, but his best friend is her cousin. And so there is that connection, but like she's literally like going to college classes. She's worried about a college project. He literally visits her at her, I think it's her dorm or her college apartment. And I'm just like, this 30-year-old man is hanging out with a college kid. Like, I could not get that out of my mind, and it just felt weird to me. And then also, she does have a past with sexual assault, so she wants like lessons in seduction kind of thing. And I was like, oh, he's 30 and she's in college, and she's like, teach me. And that just like felt very weird to me. So I couldn't get over that dynamic. It just didn't work for me. And then he called his sister Princess. His sister's 4. He basically like raises her. Her book is actually the next one. And whenever the hero used that nickname as the narrator, it just sounded so weird to me, so I just could not continue. So I had a DNF, but because I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy the last 5 hours of this book. So I started book 2 though, and I'm really, really loving it. So I'm 4 hours into that one, and I just think it's the dynamic that didn't work for me, but this dynamic is, even though she's 21 and he's 30, he's her like physical therapist, and she was a dancer that got injured, and I'm really liking. I love age gaps. It's just like they can't feel weird to me. So that is my update on that book, but those are all the books that I read in the month of July, the second half. I will link the first half down below if you want to watch. Let me know your favorite book of the month. I would love to hear, and let me know if you've read any of these. And if you've made it this far, leave me a plane emoji for Mile High Heat. Just let me know that you've made it. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.